และในโอกาสนี้ดิฉันขอเรียนเชิญท่านเอกอัครสมณทูตแห่งนครรัฐวาติกันประจำประเทศไทยค่ะท่าน Archbishop Peter Bryan Wells ค่ะได้ให้เกียรติขึ้นมอบรางวัล In this moment may I invite Archbishop Peter Bryan Wells on the stage to present the trophy please ขอเสียงปรบมือดังๆต้อนรับกันด้วยค่ะ
ซึ่งท่านจะได้ให้เกียรติมาปาฐกถาในหัวข้อวิกฤตสิ่งแวดล้อมในมิติทางจิตวิญญาณนั่นเองค่ะ Okay so the next one may I invite Archbishop Peter Bryan Wells to give us a short declaration in the topic of the environmental crisis in spiritual dimensions please
Your Excellency, Honorable President of the Senate, Your Excellency, Madam Chairwoman of the Committee for Religion and Moral Affairs of the Senate, honorable members of the Senate, members of government, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, Bishop Chusak from the Bishops' Conference, and especially those who have organized this, I think we should give a special salute to the members of the Thai Committee, the Catholic Commission of Thailand, and also to the people who are members of the Senate who've helped on this, and as well as those who are on the Thai Port Authority who have helped on these as well. This has been an ongoing project for many years now. And so it's not the first time I've been here. I've also been blessed to be here many times. And this year I was very happy to see the performances that we had, especially the two performances of dance. They did an excellent job. And I think it was also very germane to the situation that we're facing today. So first of all, let me say, may peace, the source of all our hope and love, be with you all. I would like to thank you for allowing me to address this gathering. I think we are very blessed because we gather together in a world of remarkable progress. Our technology spans continents, our cities, particularly in Asia, shine with innovation, and our lives are filled with conveniences, and even our parents, and certainly fast generations, could hardly dream of the technology that we have today. Yet, beneath this brilliance, a silent suffering echoes. Its lamentations are very evident to those who will pause and listen for a moment. It is a cry from the earth itself. Our oceans are filled with plastic. Our rivers are clogged with waste. Our forests dwindle under human ambition, and as we so know well here in South Asia, our skies carry the weight of our excess and the smell of our toxins and of our greed. Today, I invite all of us to view this environmental crisis not only through the lens of science, politics, or policy, but through a deeper spiritual dimension. In fact, I was asked to talk about the spiritual dimension of this environmental crisis. You will forgive me, first of all, if I speak from my own lived experience, which means that I speak from a perspective of my Christian Catholic background, from my own tradition, which found a particular voice and still finds a voice in the wisdom of Pope Francis, and which is being carried forward by the new Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV. At its core, the environmental crisis is a crisis of disconnection because it is a crisis of relationship. In Pope Francis's famous document, Laudato Si, he wrote, "We are not disconnected from nature. We are part of nature." These words remind us that we are not separate from creation, but we are woven of its fabric. Although we may dominate creation, this dominance demands that we are grateful and thoughtful stewards of what we have been given. We cannot be greedy. We cannot be destructive overlords. Yet too often, I think we forget this truth. We have often treated the earth as nothing more than a resource, something to exploit, rather than as a sacred gift to cherish and bless, because by the earth we have been blessed. Pope Leo XIV has reiterated this, saying that to harm the earth is to harm ourselves, for we are one with God's creation. This disconnection from nature, from each other, and from God is the spiritual root of the crisis we face, manifesting itself in polluted waters, vanishing wildlife, and a warming planet. We must continually remember and be grateful and mindful of what we have been given. This nonchalant and ambivalent attitude can result in a spiritual emptiness, leading us to overconsumption. In fact, it begs the question, why do we harm the earth so recklessly? Pope Francis pointed to a spiritual emptiness that fuels overconsumption. He wrote, "The emptier a person's heart is, the more he or she needs to buy, to own, or to consume." In a world that equates worth with possessions, we tend to chase fulfillment through material excess. We want bigger homes. We want faster cars. We want endless gadgets, cell phones, iPads, all sorts of technology. Yet this pursuit leaves us unfulfilled and our planet scarred. We try to fill our hearts with material things instead of with people, with their lives and their needs. As Pope Francis said, we must fill our hearts with gratitude for creation, not with the fleeting of treasures of consumerism. Consider the toll of our choices. Every discarded plastic bottle, every forest cut down and raised for profit, every factory clouding the air stems from a mindset that values convenience over care, greed over gratitude. This is not just an environmental issue, it's a reflection of the human soul. The ecological crisis calls us to look within and ask, what are we truly seeking? And at what cost is our common home? In Laudato Si, in fact, Pope Francis gave us a powerful phrase. Our common home reminds us that the earth belongs to no single nation, to no single generation, and to no single class of people. Our common home is a shared inheritance, a sacred trust from God. He wrote that we are not God. The earth was here before us, and it has been given to us. Recently, the new Pope reinforced this by stating that the earth is a gift, not a possession. It is our duty to protect it for all God's children. To neglect this responsibility is just careless, and it is morally wrong. The moral duty demands justice and compassion. As we are well aware, environmental destruction disproportionately harms the poorest among us, those who lose homes to floods, livelihoods to drought, or health to pollution. It has a very strong effect on poor women who are struggling to eke out a living to offer their children a better way of life, as so often these women are dependent on agriculture for their livelihoods. Caring for creation is inseparable from caring for the poor, for the vulnerable. When we heed the cry of the earth, we also heed the cry of the poor. When we conserve and protect our resources, we protect the vulnerable, the needy, and those who so desperately rely on the fruits of the earth. This is a fundamental call for me as a Christian and for our Christian community. It is part of our faith and part, we believe, of our shared humanity. The question thus becomes for us, how do we respond? Pope Francis said we should respond in this way. He called us to an ecological conversion, a transformation of heart that reawakens gratitude, humility, and care. We are called to renew our hearts and hands for the healing of our planet. This conversion is not about fear or guilt, but about rediscovering the sacredness of creation, simplicity over excess, compassion over convenience, engagement over ambivalence, and solidarity over selfishness. This journey begins with practical steps, reducing waste, conserving energy, and supporting sustainable practices. It is teaching our children to marvel at a starry sky rather than to always be staring at a glowing screen. Think about that for a moment. It's a very important thing. Our children are so attached sometimes now to technology that they fail to see the beauty around them. We are rightly praise the correct use of media, but only because this media brings us to admire God's creation. We need to teach our children and ourselves to detach from TikTok and YouTube and engage firsthand with the most extraordinary media imaginable, God's wonder, his creation, his gift to us all. It's advocating for policies that safeguard our planet and its most vulnerable people. But above all, it's a shift in vision, seeing the earth not as a resource to be used, but as Pope Francis described, a sister to be loved. We must return to wonder by rediscovering a way of living that reflects our vocation as protectors of God's handiwork, which is essential to a life of virtue. This call extends beyond people of faith. It goes to all people of goodwill. When we care for creation, we embody the love and justice of the Creator. We become the good people the world so desperately needs. Finally, what is a true spiritual response for a wounded earth? It is recognizing that the environmental crisis is not merely a technological challenge. It is a spiritual wake-up call. It urges us to heal the disconnection in our hearts and to act with courage and with hope. Let us pray for the grace to see the earth as God sees it, a masterpiece of love entrusted to our care. Let us act not out of fear, but out of love for creation, out of love for our neighbors, out of love for the future generations. Today, I invite you to join this journey of ecological conversion, inspired by the extraordinary vision of Pope Francis. Let your choices reflect gratitude. Let your actions embody justice and mercy. And let your care for our common home be a sign of your faith in the living God who renews all things. Thank you, and may God bless you all. Kap kun krap.
Thank you so much, Archbishop Peter Bryan Wells, to come and give a 4-hour shot declamation in the topic of the environmental crisis and spiritual dimensions. That is very wonderful. And please feel like at your seat. Thank you so much.